Cold
Hi
water.
everyone, and what?
Okay, starting over.
No, that was perfect. That is just the kind of chaos we like here. But anyways, I'll try that again. Hi everyone, and welcome to Crime Cocktails and BS, where we know reality is messy, but so is murder.
Ooh,
That was good,
that was
right?
great. That was
Very
great.
okay. This week we're gonna go from murder in Massachusetts to surprising, but probably not that surprising, deaths in Thailand, because we're talking about the Karen Reed case as well as the White Lotus season 3. And it's honestly because we hate everything on reality television right now. So, congratulations.
Yeah, boring as
That's what we're
fuck.
covering. It really is, and I don't get it because this is kind of like
The only thing I'm enjoying is Summer House, which is usually like end of the list.
I can't
And
watch.
yeah, it's still boring.
Yeah, I don't. It's like we need new stuff, but
Mhm.
um, I mean, Drag Race has been good. I'm just not like moved to talk about it.
Yeah, me too.
But All Stars starts May 9th, and it's like a whole new way of doing it. So we'll
Ooh.
see.
We should talk about that.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. But until then, we're gonna cover shit we like, which includes White Lotus.
Yes, indeed. That was the
Why not?
best. And I can't wait to talk about it.
Me too, because nothing says justice like a wellness retreat gone wrong.
That's right. That's right.
Before we dive into anything, I've seen a huge increase and a trend because you're not on TikTok. I'm barely on it, but I do doom scroll. Um, Gen Z is asking millennials, how did you survive the 2008 recession? And I find it hilarious because how did we survive? We had
Poor Loco.
Four Loko, the original Four Loko,
Yeah.
junk juice, which if you didn't have a drink out of a bathtub or a bucket at some
Yeah.
point, you didn't live. We played beer pong with beer in the cup.
Hmm.
Um, a lot of Kesha, which is also back.
Yeah, lots of keg stands and house parties. I don't know if you had a bunch of house parties in college.
House
Yeah.
parties, basement parties.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in Chicago, like frats and sororities aren't a huge deal, at least where I went to school, because more than seven girls in a house equaled a brothel, according to some law. So,
Really?
yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, it wasn't like a big thing to join or do. So, yeah. So a lot of the parties were like apartment parties or house parties or basement parties. Or there was
Mhm.
this one place we used to go to called Twisted Lizard that had Wicked Twisted Wednesdays, which sounds like a New England thing, but it wasn't. And it was like half price margaritas.
Yes.
So every Wednesday after class, we'd like go, and it was like downstairs. It was awesome.
Yes. But you weren't 21 in 2008, right?
You're saying it like it would have stopped
Did you have a
me.
fake ID?
No, I just got in, please.
Okay. I did
Because there
too, but
were
not
there
until
were
like
always
the
bars.
next year, I think.
No, there were always bars that like um knew like that if you went to DePaul, like you just go,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. And I went to school in Wisconsin, which is like hardcore drinking state, right next to you, where you were. University of Wisconsin, there's a lot of beer pong, a lot of beer pong. And I lived in the dorms in 2008 because it was my first year of college, and we had a lot of dorm parties.
Were you required to live in the dorm your first year?
Yes.
Same.
Yes. And I lived the first two years, 1.5 years on in the dorms.
One and done.
And I got in so much trouble in the dorms. I got written
Doesn't
up so many.
get the slightest that you would get in
I
trouble.
would go around and I would pretend I was an RA or a RA, yeah, resident assistant, whatever.
Resident advisor
Yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever
yeah,
they're
whatever
called.
they're called. I would go around with a clipboard and knock on doors where I heard parties, and then I would take all their alcohol, and then we would just drink it.
You're my hero.
I got in
Legend.
so much trouble though.
Oh shit, you did. You were, what is that? Identity theft?
I was like
Uh,
a bad kid my freshman and sophomore year. Like I got written
Still
up
are.
so much.
So obviously, if you don't know who Karen Reed is, I don't know. You're not really into
It's really
current
huge on
affairs.
the news right now.
Yeah, because we're heading into a retrial. However, let's start with like a quick rundown
Yeah,
of
let
what this.
me just dive in. Karen Reed was, she is 44 years old around. She was a financial analyst from Mansfield, Massachusetts. She's currently facing her second murder trial for the death of her boyfriend, John O'Keefe. She's been accused of hitting and killing him with her SUV during a snowstorm. So Karen and John were dating, had been dating since 2020, and she referred to him as JJ or Johnny. Um, they seemed like a good couple, but when you dig in, they had a lot of issues. Their relationship was positive and negative. They had a lot of arguments. There was a pointedly big one in Aruba right before this accident where they had a fight. There's always a lot of alcohol involved in their fights, so that's fun. Um,
Yeah, they're from Massachusetts.
yeah. Apparently, there's a huge fight because uh, Karen accused John of kissing her sister. So that's a big deal.
That is a great White Lotus parallel
Right?
in a
So just to go back and cover what happened and what she's being charged for, the night of January 29th, 2022, Karen says she dropped off John at a fellow officer. Oh, so sorry, John is a police officer or is an ex
Yeah,
police officer.
that's
Yeah,
a big
big point.
fact.
Plays a lot into this case.
Yeah.
But so she dropped him off at a fellow officer, Brian Albert's house for a party. Um, it was snowing. It was a super heavy snowstorm that night. And they had both been drinking. According to Karen, she went home after dropping him off, but when he didn't respond to her texts or calls, she was worried. So the next morning, she returned to Albert's house and found John lying in the snowbank in front of the house, unresponsive. Um, she called 911. He was rushed to a Good Samaritan Hospital in Brockton. Do you know where that is? Um,
Probably. I'm just really impressed with how you like are pronouncing
oh,
the places. I'm curious as to when we get to other places, but you're doing well.
okay.
I suck at Wisconsin
I
locations.
mean, those are tricky. Um, so he was pronounced dead at the hospital. The medical examiner reported that he had several injuries, including skull fractures, abrasions, and bruises on his face and arms, and signs of hypothermia. The cause of death was ultimately blunt force trauma to the head and then also freezing to death, which is awful. But hopefully he was passed out when that happened. Investigators reportedly found broken taillight pieces around his body, which is also like controversial. They're not sure. There are a lot of things I'm sure we'll cover later. Um, a key moment comes from a recorded conversation where Karen said, "Did I hit him?" on the 911 call, or and when they came to the scene. So just a couple days later, after those clues led them to Karen, obviously pointed them to Karen, she was arraigned on initial charges of manslaughter, motor vehicle homicide, and leaving the scene of a fatal crash. So,
Yeah,
do you want to go into
yeah,
her charges?
of course I do. So she was charged at the Staunton. I don't even know if that's right. And I'm like not from Massachusetts, but like around it.
Oh, what's the city?
Staunton,
I think that I think that's what I have.
Massachusetts cities and towns are some of the hardest ones to pronounce. And it's annoying as fuck. So when you move there, people are like, "So, can you say where I'm from?" And I'm like, "No, I can't because there's a random R, there's a random I. It looks like it should be pronounced this way, but you guys say it this way." If I held some up to you right now, you'd be like, I don't know."
I'm sure.
Like if you hear the city Worcester, you would think it's like Wooster, right? because that's like what it
It's
sounds
like
like. It's
Worcestershire.
yes, almost. It's like that. So Karen pled not guilty and was released on $80,000 bail. And in June 2022, a Norfolk County grand jury indicted her for second-degree murder, motor vehicle manslaughter, and leaving the scene of a collision. Now, there was a huge role of the Canton, Massachusetts police and a ton of alleged inconsistencies because of John being a police officer. So, as of April 1st, 2025, an independent audit of the Canton Police Department found a bunch of missteps in the handling of the Karen Reed investigation. However, no evidence was there to support claims that she was framed for the death of of her boyfriend. So the audit, which was conducted by Five Stones Intelligence, was released on the same day jury selection began for Karen's retrial. It looked back over 10 years of police records, included a review of the Karen Reed case. First responding officers should have photographed O'Keefe at the location where he was found before he was moved from the scene. All interviews of critical witnesses, including Jennifer McCabe, who we'll definitely be getting into, and Carrie Roberts should have been conducted at Canton PD on the day O'Keefe was found. Consensual recorded interviews should have been conducted. Um, Massachusetts State Police and Canton PD should have maintained a police presence at 34 Fairview Road, which is where the accident occurred, pending the secondary search conducted by MSP or Massachusetts State Police crime scene units, and all video footage and files maintained on Canton PD's computer systems of Karen Reed's Lexus SUV while it was housed at Canton PD should have been requested and turned over early to lead investigators on the case. So a ton of inconsistencies there. And that doesn't even get into the theories behind what possibly happened to John. So early media framing of Karen, because obviously we are in the year of our Lord Britney Spears, 2024, 2025. And I need to probably stop saying that.
I love it.
Anyway, so there's a lot of dual narrative. So there's Karen as the scorned and reckless woman who was upset with her boyfriend about possibly kissing her sister and all that fun White Lotus, like Game of Thrones shit. And then Karen as a scapegoat in a boys' club police cover up. And then you have her now infamous mugshots of her looking pretty quote unquote glamorous in them.
Yeah.
And a ton of press photos were added to public perception, which honestly, the public perception of Karen Reed is so polarizing. So
Hmm.
I was living in Boston at the time of her first trial. It blew up local news and obviously national news, and people were going insane over it. So obviously there are a lot of key major players within the trial. So we have the prosecution, which was led by Hank Brennan, who was a special prosecutor hired by Norfolk County District Attorney, and he was assisted by former lead prosecutor Adam Lally and Laura McLaughlin. And then you move into the defense, which Karen Reed and her family did not spare a dime in her defense attorneys. So it included and still includes attorneys David Yannetti, Alan Jackson, and Elizabeth Little, with Robert Alessi and Victoria George also joining the team for her retrial. Now, what's interesting about that is Victoria George was actually an alternate juror during Reed's first trial. So she clearly thought Karen didn't do anything, so I'm going to help her
Hmm.
for next one. And then we move into the prosecution's case, which they claim that obviously to them, Karen hit O'Keefe with her SUV outside of a house in Canton during a snowstorm. She backed her Lexus SUV into Keefe, causing a skull fracture and brain bleed. And then she left him out in the snow, allegedly. Um, they presented evidence of a troubled relationship between Reed and O'Keefe, which Kajsa already talked about. And the prosecution also argued that no one at the house party where Reed allegedly dropped O'Keefe off recalled seeing him inside. Now, with that, the defense claimed that Reed is really the victim here of a cover up by law enforcement. There are obviously some key witnesses here. So we have Jennifer McCabe, who we mentioned earlier,
Hmm.
who searched on her phone how long to die in cold
Yeah.
before O'Keefe was found, which is obviously a contentious point in the defense argument. We have Brian Albert, who like Kajsa said, was a part of the police department and homeowner of the party house. He refused to testify, citing Fifth Amendment rights, which is like red flag. And then you have Brian Higgins, which was an ATF agent and friend of both Reed and O'Keefe, who got caught up in speculation because, and I hope you have this, there were so many cringe text messages between Brian Higgins and Karen Reed
I don't have the
where they,
text messages, so if you want to
oh my God,
go for it.
it was so embarrassing to watch. You have this guy on the stand, and the defense is just having screenshots of their text messages on a screen, and he has to read them, and they're like, "Okay, so who's the blue bubble?" And he's like, "That's me." And they're like, "Okay, read your text." And he's like, "Loved seeing you tonight." And then it was like, "Okay, who's the white bubble?" And they were like, "Karen Reed." And he was like, "Okay, what does it say?" And she was like, "Yeah, loved seeing you, wink face." And he had to read all of these
So
messages
funny.
out loud. It felt like hours.
Yeah, it's so cringy.
It was so
Cringe.
cringy. And like also at the same time, like I had a moment where I was like, oh my God, what if someone had to read my text messages on a screen and I had to sit there? Like, could you imagine that being you? And you're
Mm.
like, great.
No,
So I'm in a relationship and I'm clearly, first of all, you shouldn't do that
no.
regardless. Um, but like, oh,
It's very uncomfortable.
it's one of those things where I had to change the channel and leave the room.
Hmm.
I was like, oh, this is not good, but like also was working. So I was like,
Ugh.
I'll away from it for this for. Um, so it was it was insane and so awkward, but
Yeah.
kind of amazing at the same time.
Can't believe they made him read it too.
Every single one.
That's insane.
Guys, if you think you can clean out your phone, you
You
can't.
can't. You can't delete
You can't.
anything.
It's all there.
Hmm.
Be careful what you do. Anyway, so like I said, public reaction in and out of the courtroom, absolutely polarizing. You had Karen Reed super fans, loyal group of free Karen supporters holding signs and camping outside of the courthouse and her court appearances. And then you had a ton of online discussions about her as well. Obviously, we have Reddit deep dives, Facebook theorists who we all enjoy, and a ton of merch campaigns too. So you could like buy t-shirts with her face on it or like free Karen or like I don't know, they called her a bunch of weird things, but it was just so crazy to see. It felt like if I had to compare it to another case where we like had so much media presence, like seeing the people, do you remember the Michael Jackson stuff and he
Hmm.
like they let out the doves when they said he was not guilty?
Yeah.
You remember that?
What the fuck?
That honestly is like how I would compare it, probably ridiculous to compare, but like even the Johnny Depp Amber Heard one, which I know I talk
Yeah.
about, but so much of that, like people just going and camping out and going all out in how they're supporting.
Hmm.
Crazy town.
Which is why
Yeah.
they're having trouble pulling jurors right now because everyone is aware of what happened and has been influenced by the
Mhm.
media. So,
Yeah, I think that's one of the major issues with having all of these cases and televised courtrooms and all that. Granted, we enjoy it, but at the same time, it makes it harder for retrials, mistrials. I can't imagine. I understand, like, if you're on a jury, you're not supposed to talk to the other jurors about the case unless it's like in that room, like in 12 Angry Men. But like how are you not influenced?
I don't
I
know.
can't
It's
imagine.
crazy. Um, there are a lot of points that I'm excited to see play out, like all the evidence in this new trial, because it's such a weird case. Like, if there is police corruption, I don't know. So I'll just cover a couple of them. So one of the main points is when she said, I hit him, allegedly, during the 911 call. Um, the defense is claiming that this is a panic statement, not an admission of guilt. Like she was saying, oh my gosh, did I hit him? Like just playing things over in her mind while she was freaking out. Um, some witnesses reported that she said, I hit him. Some said that she said, could I have hit him? Like there are many variations of it. Um, so the prosecutors are obviously trying to use that as a confession. There's no surveillance footage of the moment Reed allegedly struck O'Keefe. Um, there is limited, like you said, limited forensic evidence. They didn't take photos of the body, et cetera, et cetera. Um, so it makes it really tricky. The we could talk about the cell phone data. Like you said, that Google search of Haslong, Haslong to die in the cold, a drunken Google search. They said it was made at 2:27 a.m., right hours before he was found in the snow. But um, they're claiming that the data is off. So I can't wait to see like how that plays out because
Yeah, I don't understand how.
the judge said they can use all the data from all their phones in this trial. So
Dude, and that judge was hardcore.
yeah,
She
intense,
was not playing around.
right?
She was getting pissed. It was amazing.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. The angry voicemail messages, like the fight that they had before, it's just like very much so points to her being an angry girlfriend who was drunk and acted out. But the defense team is saying that O'Keefe was beaten outside of Albert's home and left outside to die. That uh there are some signs that point to evidence tampering, like um there's missing footage from outside the police department where her car was driving by picking him up, I think. I can't remember. And it would have shown if her taillight was already broken. So that's missing. So they think maybe the police officers worked together and like broke her taillight and planted evidence around his body. There's like all these crazy theories. They were saying, like, why wasn't there snow on his body if he had supposedly been lying outside overnight during the snowstorm? There was like no snow built up on his body. Um, the injuries aren't consistent with being hit by a vehicle. That's one scientist's evaluation. There's just a lot of really weird, like, sketchy evidence. There's no substantial evidence. So I wonder how this will play out.
Yeah, I mean the part that like him getting beaten up, it's by or allegedly by Brian Albert. Brian Higgins was there, and then also possibly Colin Albert, who is Brian Albert's nephew,
Mhm.
but he is not allowed to be charged or something now. Like the judge did something, so like he's not actually a part of it. It's a whole thing.
Okay.
Um,
I didn't.
but it's like apparently John O'Keefe got bit by the dog
Yeah.
and then he got beaten up outside and he like whacked his head and that's why you have Jennifer McCabe's drunken slurry Google search.
Yeah, but they did test the body and they did not find any dog canine DNA around the wounds that they're saying are dog bites. So
Yeah.
there's also that. Like it's just it's so
Nothing's adding up.
yeah, nothing's adding up. There is a Discovery series docu-series called A Body in the Snow that delves into Reed's perspective, presenting her as the victim of a law enforcement cover-up, which is one of the theories. So various YouTubers and other podcasters have covered this case, presenting alternative theories. So there's just so much out there right now. Um,
Yeah, Turtle Boy, he got arrested.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
And
have
then
info
had
on
to
that?
testify.
On the
Um, Not really. He was just a very outspoken
hmm
influencer on this case and then was arrested for what was it? Evidence not evidence tampering, but like
It was like intimidation
yeah,
of witnesses.
yeah, witness intimidation.
Hmm
So he was arrested and then released and then he became a witness for the case, which was really interesting to like watch him talk, also to see him like his name's Turtle Boy online. And it's like seeing this actual person. You're like, okay.
Am I not
Um,
turtly enough for the Turtle Club?
oh my God. What? Quote, today was
Turtle,
a
turtle. Sorry.
I used to love that
Me
movie. It's
too.
so bad,
Me
but it's
too.
so good.
So
I
good.
used to watch that in my sister's room.
It's so good.
Tina Carvey, man.
Oh, so good. Um, yeah, there are a lot like there were a lot of protests outside the courtroom. Like just it's so dramatic.
Oh my God,
I
yeah.
don't know what I believe.
I don't know what to
Yeah.
believe. I don't know how this retrial is going to work because, like we've been saying, everyone's been so, there's no way you haven't been influenced by this in some way or another because there's so much out there. Like Kajsa said, there's a Discovery docuseries. There's Netflix announced a new three-part documentary that's coming out. There's a 2020 episode about it. There's a Dateline episode about it. There's a 10-part narrative podcast series on it. There's a bunch of other things that you can listen to. And then you have everyone on TikTok and YouTube covering it. And like going over all of the conspiracy angles and like people are actually being like threatened and with the doxing, which by the way, I didn't really understand what that phrase was. I had to like look it up. Oh,
What does that mean?
so doxing is when you actually go and you release people's documents. So you like say what their full name is, their birth date, where they were
Oh,
born,
yeah.
they live, like give out their address, their phone number, their email, like everything about a person which the government already has, but like can be thrown out to the public. And it's happened to people like that have been in some controversial things and people didn't like what they said. So they release their information and they get just like a slew of hate mail.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah. And then obviously, like, there's so much behind it becoming entertainment while also being an active murder trial. So like we already talked about Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, like that became a huge clusterfuck of a media circus. And then you have like Gypsy Rose post-release coverage. She has her own fucking TV show.
She's doing TikTok dances.
Why are we like celebrating people who have done bad things?
It's wild. The media has also just like all the headlines they portray her as the icy blonde. I know you touched on this, but like the icy blonde or suburban femme fatale, or like they put her out there as like this beautiful, composed woman accused of a brutal crime. And then there's also like the other side where they're portraying her as a woman being railroaded by a corrupt system and bringing in corruption within police teams and things like that. It's just,
Yeah, it's another
it's
person
manipulative.
that they're kind of turning into like a vigilante in a way.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
Very interesting. So the retrial is starting. The jury is being selected right now. There's already issues with people being biased from having knowledge of the previous
mhm. Yeah, so
trials.
there are 16 jurors selected, including alternates, but there's a lot of issues around jury anonymity
Hmm.
because of the virality of the
Yeah.
case. And then obviously, like we've been touching on, it's people already have biased opinions.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. The potential outcomes are either conviction, acquittal, or another mistrial because it's so public. They're struggling, like we said, to find a jury that hasn't been affected by the media. So it's that's happening like right now. They're like just coming out with that.
Yeah, and the second degree murder conviction would carry a life sentence with the possibility of parole. Some other ongoing shifts are including like witnesses having hired lawyers and changing statements, and there's also now a possible federal invest. ugh. There's also a possible federal investigation into Canton PD, which is just being floated by online communities. But the I think this goes a lot deeper
Hmm.
than what we're seeing. But
It's about like power of the media, our perception of cases, whether the justice system itself can be trusted or police. Like, who can we really trust? That's the
why did the Law and Order theme just pop in my head when you said that?
dun dun.
No, like what do they say at the beginning of the episodes?
Um, oh my gosh. Hold on.
My sister could probably do this right now.
I watched that since I was a little kid.
In the criminal justice system. I only watched SVU though.
I bet Dane could do it too. In a criminal justice system, sexually
Yes,
based offenses. Oh, that's for SVU.
that's SVU. Especially heinous crimes.
Heinous crime. Yeah. Uh,
Oh,
yeah.
so good.
Good. Good stuff.
Probably
So
should have been watching that at like 8 years old though.
I know my parents watched it all the time, and I would like sneak downstairs and watch it with them.
Oh, my mom would catch me watching and be like, "What are you doing?" And like turn the TV off.
Well, my
Like
parents
put
were like, "Please watch Psycho at age 6." Like, please.
I mean, that is a film staple that you should watch. So
Truly is, but it did fuck me up.
it's good to understand in a world where there's a lot of Norman Bateses out there.
Yeah. True.
True.
Anyway, speaking of corruption and not corruption, but power and perception,
Hmm.
should we look at our themed cocktail before we dive into White Lotus?
I would love nothing more.
Oh, good. I almost forgot the cocktail, but we're here. So this is called White Lotus Whispers, and it's a pina colada.
Have you tried the coffee mate yet?
No, but I saw that. That's amazing.
I don't like pina coladas.
I don't either. Um, this one is mango and pineapple, coconut cream, Thai rum, lime juice, and lemongrass syrup. So it has like a little bit, and then there's sea salt. So it's like a little bit different than a normal pina colada because I don't like the like sunblock flavoring of a
Hmm.
pina
Yeah,
colada.
gross. When my dad came home from being in a treatment facility in California for 30 days, he had like a like a juicer and like a whole thing set up in our like he had this whole setup he made in our kitchen and he would do wheatgrass, lemongrass and ginger shots every day.
Yeah, it's good for you. It's intense.
Yeah, but when I'm like 15, it smells like shit in my house and I'm like, what are you doing?
I love, I used to hate lemongrass and now I love it. And I do love the ginger, lemon, lemongrass, cayenne, like those little shots.
I like it in like incense and candle smells and
It's a good
all that
detox,
stuff.
so I get it why he did that. Um,
I figured it was because he was in California.
maybe that.
It's like
Oh,
and that's also me being like, oh, let's get into it when I'm like have my evil eye shit on and which is honestly a great segue into White Lotus season
should
3.
we do the intro? Oh,
Wait, so where do you want to start with this? Because we have on-screen stuff, off-screen drama.
yeah.
Like where
Let's,
actually I have a perfect thing to say
okay.
first. It is killing me internally that so many people are now like Jason Isaacs is so hot, he's so attractive, love him. I'm watching the show going, he
Duh.
tried to kill Harry
But
Potter.
he's
How
hot.
can we love him so much? But I mean, he's a very
Yeah.
attractive older man. How old is he?
I don't know. He is definitely an older gentleman, but he's attractive. And we still, do we have confirmation that that was a prosthetic? Question mark.
I don't
No
know.
one is saying it
No one knows. My friend sent me something too, and she was like, "Do we know that? Do we have an answer?" And I'm like, "I don't know what to tell you. Like, let's
because
just."
he's been like really sneaky about it, but he's talking about how like there has to be some weird standard on TV about male genitalia. I don't know. There's been like a lot.
He's 61.
Hmm. I mean, not bad.
That's that's out of my age range, but
Hmm.
I could make an exception.
Yeah. I do love that he's a gossip, but let's talk about the
He
show
is such
first.
a
Let's talk
gossip.
about the show and then we can dive into like the drama, I think.
Okay. So, the finale, first of all, this sh season had just like so much weird press around it.
Yeah.
Um, Going from like what's up with the incest of the three kids? Like, is there gonna be? Obviously, there kind of was. And then The finale, like The Guardian described it as the show's least satisfying ending ever with a 3-star review. The Standard said it was heartwarming, frequently heartbreaking, and often frustrating. And The Independent said it was a violent end to a bad season.
By the way, we should say spoilers ahead. If you haven't finished it, we're
Oh,
probably
right.
gonna spoil some things while we talk about this.
We haven't said anything yet, right?
No, but we might. I think we
Okay.
will.
No, we are,
Yeah.
but good. It's also been like over a week, you
Come
guys.
on.
Or it's been a week.
Yeah.
Like,
If you weren't watching that the night it came out, come on. Um,
yeah. Also, if you're listening to this on the day it comes out, which is probably a Sunday, Monday situation at this point. It's been a week.
mhm.
Get with it.
Get with it. I called the dad situation. I told Dane,
Which dad situation?
the old guy, whatever his name is, Frank. Wait.
Oh, being Rick's dad.
Yeah. I called that though before it happened. I was like,
I think that was one of the more, I don't want to say obvious, but like
yeah.
one of the theories that made sense.
Hmm.
Like Sam Rockwell's monologue in that episode, and he was like, I am she. And I was like, whoa, man.
That was so. Did you know he's married to what's her face? To I'm so bad at names.
Leslie Bibb. They've been
Yeah.
together for 18 years. I love their relationship. It's kind of like my ideal relationship. They have to like they are apart,
Hmm.
and then every 3 weeks they're like, that's our rules. We don't go more than 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, that sounds beautiful. Like you
Yeah.
go have your life, be busy, do your thing, and then you figure it out.
Hmm.
That is ideal.
It is.
I sound so avoidant right now.
I mean, I think it's healthy.
That you always make me feel better about my life decisions.
I think it's healthy. I was obsessed with this season. I think it's weird that people didn't like it. My dad didn't like it, and he was like, it's just about the people. Like, there's no story." And I'm like, there is such an intense story behind everyone, and it's just character
Also, no
development, and
offense to Timmy P, but like
that is what we call it.
it's about the people. Yeah, that's what a show is.
Yeah.
There's character arcs, there's people.
Well, and it is like Mike White is so good at the character development, like over the episodes and creating like good and bad within every person. And it's just so good. It's so well
And to
done.
think he was just the sidekick to Jack Black in School of Rock.
And on Survivor.
Yes. But I remember seeing him for the first time and I was like, you were in School of Rock.
Yeah.
I know
That
you.
movie's so good, by the way.
Jesus.
Super
Also,
amazing.
your celebrity crush.
Yeah.
Black. Not Mike White, Jack Black.
I have to say, I was thinking about this because Walton Goggins is like my celebrity crush from like way back. So
Do you watch Righteous Gemstones?
I don't, but I need to. I need to.
Baby Billy's Bible Bunkers?
Yeah, I need
Oh
to
my
watch it.
God.
I've heard he's amazing in it.
He season 4, like he's trying all these get rich quick schemes, which I love. Um, but in season 4, he comes up with the TV show called Teen Jesus. And Danny McBride is like, why don't you just call him Gene? Like, why just like shorten the title? And he was like, nah, it's Team Jesus. And I'm like, it's so funny.
Tame Jesus.
God.
Oh,
Also, did you watch him in Vice Principals?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, so good.
Um, and then what? Oh, on oh my God,
Sons of
Sons of
Anarchy.
Anarchy. Yeah, he plays that
So good.
woman, and it's amazing. The acting is incredible. They're all just so good.
Carrie Coon's monologue, she deserves an her and Sam Rockwell both deserve Emmys.
Hmm.
And I know we were talking about this on the phone yesterday, but the ad-libbing during that scene with the 3 women and then like them saying I love you was not a part of the script. It was so like genuine and real in that moment. It's just like I thought their whole like their whole season was so I thought it was really accurate of like female friendship,
It is.
especially in a group of 3.
Yeah,
Ladies, you know, groups of 3,
it's
it's always a little dicey.
not a good idea for a trip.
Oh, there should be 4
Yeah.
or 2 or 0
Hmm.
or go maybe
Solo trip.
going along.
Just
A little
kidding.
scary.
But it was super accurate. You're right.
It was really accurate, but her monologue was just so good.
Hmm.
And then I keep seeing this same meme over and over again that's like, she gives this gorgeous monologue about her friends, and the second a gun goes off, she's already
Run.
out and shot. Which, by the way, she was like a runner.
Hmm.
Like they wanted her for some like American team.
Yeah. It's like
Like
super
she,
fitness woman.
yeah. And so like that was her legit running.
They must have planned that though, to have her go way ahead of the rest of the women.
No, that was like amazing. You just hear me like shit die, and the other two are kind of waiting and like in shock.
Yeah.
They finally go, and they're like, Carrie Coon's already gone. She's out.
I feel like, okay, the ending I felt was perfect. Like it couldn't have ended in a better way. Like I did not predict that at all. I predicted
Rick and Chelsea, or
just, yeah, I didn't, I mean, I knew Chelsea would probably die. I had no clue it was gonna like play out that way. I think that was the only way Walton Goggins, whatever his character's name is, I'm terrible at names, guys. Yeah, Rick. Um, that's the only way Rick could li like live on is like by dying because he was never going to be satisfied and he fucked it up by killing his own father, but like needed to kill his own father. Like if he lived through that, it would not, nothing would work.
I mean, it's crazy to think though, like now obviously you have all the internet sleuths and the theorists and stuff. So like the necklace Chelsea had or Amy Lou Wood had on the whole time had a quote on it or like a line from something that like made it clear that she was gonna die.
Yeah,
And then anytime she said something to Rick, she was like,
the rule of
we
thirds.
complete each other. Like if something happens to you, it happens to me. Everything bad happens in threes
Hmm.
and all that. So looking back, people were like, no, it was clear Chelsea was gonna die. And then you have the scene of them floating in the water, and everyone's like, oh, this is actually like a representation of the Ophelia painting.
Hmm.
My favorites. It's
Yeah,
so good. Um, and then you have the
Shakespearean.
whole story of Ophelia. Yeah, you have all the Shakespearean
Yeah.
references.
And then there's like Mike White's little like comedy commentary at the end with the body bags going onto the
Oh
plane
my God, I know.
together.
By the way, I love when our art history majors, minors, all that get to actually like play out.
There's a lot of art history symbolism in this. Everything Mike White does in these shows is like
There's always
purposeful.
something.
Yeah. Every little statue, every little like leaf decoration is means something, which is incredible. I can't imagine putting that much thought into some like a scene. What?
Yeah. How have you heard about the Zion Piper
No.
scene that got cut out?
No.
So apparently, so we all know Piper no, went to the temple for a night. Obviously, it worked out for Piper Posey's character because now her daughter gets to come home because she's admitted that she's a bougie bitch.
Yeah.
And she, you see her go from like wearing a lot of white all the time to then all of a sudden she's wearing color. And I guess there was a scene in between all of that where Piper and Zion meet, and then she chooses to lose her virginity to him, which
Oh,
is why she's then in color. And then at the end, when they're on the boat going back home, like the sun's shining on her a bit differently. She's kind of like a lit more relaxed,
interesting.
I guess, from like pent up sexual tension. I don't know. Um, so yeah, so that's one of the deleted scenes is that they got together.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did like the character her character development at the end where she's like pissed that her brother wanted to do what she wanted to do and she's like I'm the only one who's going to be enlightened. Like she was just very it was just very relatable in a way, kind of.
Mean, I think that's like a perfect representation of your early 20s. It's
Yeah.
like you think you know what you want for yourself, and your frontal lobe isn't fully developed yet, which I know I harp on all the time, but like you think you know what's best for you, and you really don't.
Mm-mm.
I
Yeah.
loved when she was describing, she was like, the food wasn't organic and the bed and the mattress had stains on it. And it's like, well, you want to live in a like a temp, like in a monastery. It's kind of like
Right. And she's never
give up
had
all
to
your
deal with that.
possessions. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, she's coming from what I guess was a prestigious Durham family, and now
Yep.
I was frustrated that like there wasn't even a little like a little like thing for us to chomp on about them losing their money.
Yeah.
They got on the boat and they got all their phones back. Like,
Mhm.
and there was also another art history reference when Jason Isaac's character thinks Lachlan's dead and he's holding him. I forgot what the painting's called, but I've been seeing it.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't see that one.
What I have seen though is a lot of memes being like, the real issue here is that he was using a dirty blender.
Right. And the thing is, that scene was, I almost started crying. I was like, they can't
Oh yeah.
kill the young, innocent son. Like, no.
I think we need to change that word innocent there, my friend.
Okay, I thought there's gonna be some like storyline of him finding out he's gay.
I mean, I think it just was kind of like under the radar the whole time.
Okay.
I think like we all knew.
Yeah. Right?
But he's gay for his brother.
It
I don't
that
know.
was so disturbing. But the blender, he like talks about that in a few interviews, and he's like, the thing is, he wanted to be like his brother so bad, and he was like, I'm gonna use the same protein shake blender that he had, but it's like clearly the pina colada mix, so gross. Patrick Schwartz, I cannot say that name.
Schwarzenegger?
Schwarzenegger is really good, and I was shocked. I was like, all these nepo kids, but like he's actually pretty talented.
Oh, he was actually pretty good.
Hmm.
I was surprised. And also that character arc in itself, like Chelsea really did such a number on him.
Uh-huh.
And see, I think just seeing all three of them on the boat back home and like the book he was reading was like,
There's like
if more people read books
also
like that.
symbolism with them sitting there at the beginning. There's like see no
Yeah.
evil, speak no evil, whatever, hear no evil, whatever the fuck. Um,
It's crazy to think that there is so much off-screen
yeah.
drama happening
Yeah.
with all of this. Like, obviously, it's all the show is so multi-layered. There's so many like Easter eggs and cookies and all that. Oh my God, we didn't even talk about Belinda turning into
Oh
like a
yeah.
badass off bitch. And so that scene where she and Zion are talking to Gary slash Greg, because I don't know which name to use with
Uh-huh.
him. Um, and they leave the room because like you genuinely think she's had like a actual like issue with her son asking for so much more money and all that. And then she's like, you go back in there and you tell him that like I took that personally and like all that. I was like, whoa, where did you come from? And
Yeah.
then she essentially that I forgot what her Thai boyfriend's name is.
What is his name?
I don't remember, but
Um,
like just leaving him in the dust. I get it was a week, but like it's exactly what Tanya did to her.
yeah, it was the same dialogue too. Like if you go back
Mhm.
like between Tanya and Belinda and then Belinda and whatever his name is, like it's paralleled and it's so interesting. And the sad news is she had more money in her account than I've
Mhm.
ever had before getting the 5 million.
Yeah, I know. I was like, that was her balance prior.
Yeah.
That must be nice.
Must be nice.
Should I like check my credit card bill?
Yeah.
Like, that'd be really helpful. And then I saw something else that made me laugh, which was like, people really did not like Zion.
Mhm.
And someone came out and was like, so clearly you've never hung out with a 20-something-year-old retired frat bro named Chad. It's
Okay,
like,
I'm sorry, but the scene where he walks in on his mom, like that would
oh my
not,
God.
why did it play out that way? Question mark. Who
Why
was
was he standing
ever
there for so long?
who was ever like, "Oh, mom, did you just get laid? Are you in bed naked?"
It
Like,
was so uncomfortable.
like,
So it's between like a son and a mother. Like,
right?
no.
Right? He's like, "Do you need some privacy?" I'm like, I would have like gagged and run. It's so gross. Like, I don't care how healthy your relationship is. If you're talking about sex that way with your fucking parents, that's
Like,
disgusting.
I get that there are families that like have those kinds of
I don't get
relationships,
it.
but like, nah, yo, not my. That's a no from me, dog. Not happening.
I also know
Uh-uh.
like I'm not the only one who reacted that way to that scene. So like,
Absolutely not.
what? It's so weird.
There were a bunch of people, but this is what Mike White does. He th makes these scenes that make everyone like very uncomfortable,
It's so
or a large majority of people very uncomfortable. But that's what makes the show so good.
yeah.
Okay, now off screen. So let's start with Jason Isaacs, also known as Timmy.
Gossip
Um,
Man.
I love
I love
it.
it too.
I just also love him, even though he read someone's comment being like, I just can't get over the fact that this guy normally has like a 613 40-inch wig on his head. He was like, what's 613? And I was like, I only know from Real Housewives what 613 is,
Yeah.
which is the hair color of the wig. I would have never known that. And it's like a certain blonde.
Yeah.
They talked about it on Potomac because they were like, all the women have tried wearing a 613 and only like a few it works
Erica
on.
Jane, maybe.
Potomac.
Oh, Potomac.
So it's
Oh,
like Karen. Like, Mia tried wearing a 613. It didn't look good.
are they talking about his Harry Potter wig? Okay.
Yes, the
Okay.
Lucius
I was
Malfoy
like,
wig.
what?
No, it's like that type of like ice blonde.
hmm
I,
That makes sense.
thinking about being blonde gives me PTSD.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Jason Isaacs has said that the cast and crew were essentially in like this pressure cooker the entire time they were together. I mean, they were in Thailand for 6 months. The same hotel, all together, filming all this. So he was quoted as saying that, like anywhere you go for the summer, there's friendships, there's romances, there's arguments, there's cliques that form and break and reform and stuff like that. I'm careful. I'm not stupid. I look at the internet. I only read every single word written about the White Lotus and about everybody in it. It was like a cross between summer camp and Lord of the Flies, but in a gilded cage. It wasn't a holiday.
Yeah, he said it was hot. People were drinking wine at night. Usually on set, people go home and come back for their next shoot, but they were together constantly, so they like couldn't get away from each other. He also said, we were sticking pigs every day. No, it wasn't entirely blissful. Obviously, people formed friendships, but we weren't one great big homogenous family. It was a large group of people away from home, unanchored from their normal lives. And I'm not going to break ranks and say who did what to whom, but it certainly wasn't a holiday. There is apparently drama, but speaking of him, of Jason Isaacs, apparently he and Parker Posey might not be on good terms. So he has been posting pictures with his three fictional children and leaving Parker Posey out of all of his posts.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. He also came out and said that like he reads and sees all the theories from the internet sleuths and that they couldn't be farther from the truth. So it's really interesting. Well, I mean, I'm sure he doesn't like want to put anyone on blast or like start drama, but like who knows what's real?
Well, and then he also said Parker Posey, quote, has a completely different attitude to how to be on set and how to bring script to life. She's very idiosyncratic individual. We're from completely different schools of acting.
Ooh.
hmm
A little catty.
And she said she kept a low profile on set, so she was like trying to stay away from people off screen, which maybe was the healthy thing to do. I don't know.
It's also interesting to watch who's doing PR together
Yeah.
because like a good chunk of them do it together.
Yeah.
And then like Michelle Monaghan, I guess she's filming something else, but when she does um PR, it's pretty much her alone.
hmm
And same thing with Parker Posey. Jason Isaacs is with everyone, but like Walton Goggins is by himself.
Yeah. Apparently Michelle um was very secluded too. She didn't hang out with people on set very much.
And
Interesting.
then there's the Walton Goggins, Amy Lou Wood stuff.
Yeah.
There are so many theories about them. Um, I love them both. I also love Amy Lou Wood. Have you watched Sex
No,
Education?
but I need to now, obviously.
It's so good.
My parents
So,
and
so
Dane's
good.
parents talk about it all the time, and I haven't watched it. We
That's
watched.
I did not think that's what you were about to say.
Isn't that weird? I don't know. I've heard it's
I
very
think that's
intense.
very festive of them. Um, so Apparently, these two who played Rick and Chelsea, so romantic partners on the show, um, they have unfollowed each other on Instagram weeks before the finale, which they obviously both ultimately die on. In a Reddit thread, users pointed out that the two didn't do any press together to promote the show or tag each other in any cast photos. However, when they do talk about each other, it's very highly, and they do this in interviews as well as in Instagram. So like Amy Lou Wood posted like a carousel of photos and is like, Rick and Chelsea, Walton is amazing. Like we really did love you, like all that. And we also find out in a podcast interview that Walton Goggins just did with Not Skinny But Not Fat that he does all his own social media.
Yeah, I mean that's
So
really
it's not him.
obvious too. Like you can tell but by his captions. It's not very curated. It's very Walton, like
No,
sporadic.
which I like.
Hmm.
I don't like when you have like a PR team doing your shit. Like it's not like I mean, let's face it, Instagram is really a highly curated platform for everyone to show like how well they're doing in life.
Hmm.
So when you get to find out that like someone who's in this spotlight is actually doing their own, it's kind of refreshing. However, there's this huge theory out there that apparently these two allegedly hooked up while filming, and Walton's wife found out and she was like, you got to block her, nothing with her, and all that. So who knows?
I think that
I
could
guess
be it. I have a feeling that is they had a lot of like deeper chemistry.
they had a lot of good chemistry, yeah.
Yeah.
And then apparently also, which I find interesting, he was only home for 4 hours in between filming the end of White Lotus and the beginning of Righteous Gemstones, and he had the hardest time getting back into Baby Billy.
Oh.
But it's the same thing with Carrie Coon. She went from filming White Lotus in Thailand to coming to Rhode Island to film The Gilded Age.
Hmm.
And she was like, I had the hardest time flipping. Because have you watched Gilded Age?
I've
Holy
only watched
shit.
like the first 2 or 3 episodes, yeah.
Well, if you come visit in the summer, you can be an extra.
Yeah.
Um, but her character is so completely different that it took her a while to like get her mind. Like all these people were only home for like hours. Finally, out of all the drama that's been out there, you then have what Mike White and the composer Cristobal Tapia de Veer publicly fighting. So de Veer
Yeah.
has been the composer on the show for all 3 seasons and then quit while this season was airing. He's known for composing other shows and movies, including UK series Utopia. He did an episode of Black Mirror, and then he is the reason behind why so many women are drinking more milk again, Baby Girl.
Yeah.
So, the drama really began after there was a huge outcry of the season 3 theme song, with so many people being like, what the fuck is this? This isn't right. Someone actually commented that the new theme quite literally ruined my whole weekend.
Yeah, it's not like the dancey song that we
Yeah,
like.
I listened to it today,
I
like the
like it.
full thing. Once you get into it, like the part that they didn't use
Mhm. A
has
beat.
the actual like theme into it. It also doesn't help that the season 2 theme became so popular. Tiesto did a remix of it, which also makes me think of like 2008 recession pop.
Yeah.
And like, oh my God. Anyway, I just had flashbacks. And like that song just became so popular. Also so good. I have that on like a running playlist for me. And yeah. So he revealed to the New York Times that he and White had already had like their last fight forever. He cited creative differences, which I think is just such bullshit.
Yeah.
But said that that's been happening since season 1, which then Mike White hit back while speaking to Howard Stern of all people, saying like, I don't think he respected me. He wants people to know that he's edgy and dark. And I'm like, I don't know. I like to watch reality TV,
Yeah.
which you can be both.
Yeah,
We are.
we are.
We like dark shit.
We like dark shit.
No idea.
We like happy shit.
Obviously, we talk about people killing each other every week. That's pretty dark.
That's the
Yeah.
music is another thing that is just incredible on the shows. Like they use the cultural music and tie it into like something that everyone would like. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
really good.
I was listening to the soundtrack while finishing up my notes for this today, and I was like in a zone.
Mm-hmm.
Really good.
It's really good. But I did want to bring in one last point, I think, and we forgot to touch on this earlier, but I think people with trauma really like the White
Oh, yeah,
Lotus because,
because we do.
well, yeah, but I think we understand the vibes better, and it's just something we read. We're used to reading the room. We're used to reading, like, predicting people's actions, and like, I don't know.
Yeah.
If you
I
have
loved
that
how
trauma,
uncomfortable. Yeah. Yeah. I enjoyed watching some of the characters. I think especially Rick
yeah.
be so uncomfortable with like those therapy kind of sessions.
Hmm.
Because it reminded me of like, yeah, I remember kind of first going to therapy and being like, why the fuck am I here? Like, this is weird.
Yeah.
Now it's like, I look forward to my Monday at 9 a.m.
Oh, that
Uh,
scene with the therapist where he's like, I need
Yeah.
to talk to you.
Yeah.
That was
It's,
dark.
but it totally, sh like, that is such an accurate depiction of what that is.
Just like a complete meltdown. Yeah.
Good times.
Wowza.
This kind of leads into quick shots.
Ooh.
Shall I ask you first?
Yes.
Okay. Well, because it this ties in really well. Okay, so I have a two-parter.
Okay.
So, who from the Real Housewives would thrive on a White Lotus season? And then the second half of the question is, who from the series would be great on Traitors?
I keep wanting to say Erica Jane, but I feel like she or Cynthia Bailey, maybe.
She could be good.
I don't know. I can't think of anyone who's like, I think Erica Jane.
Okay.
There are a lot of layers. Okay, and then Traders. Who on White Lotus would be good in Traders?
Yeah.
Oh Lord. Any of them. I think any of them, right? I don't know. I think Patrick Schwarzenegger. See, I can't do it. I don't know what's wrong with my mouth, but I think Parker Posey would be so entertaining.
I would also think she might get kicked off
Yeah,
early.
that's true.
I feel like Greg, he'd be really
Ooh,
good.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I also think maybe the manager from season one.
Ooh, what is that
He
guy's
could
name
be,
again?
I
Oh,
forgot what his name is.
so good.
Um, yeah, I think he could be good. Um, yeah, there are a few. Okay. Would you rather do a 10-day silent retreat with your ex or be in the Karen Reed docuseries?
Karen Reed docuseries.
Yeah. First of all, I don't think I would survive a 10-day silent. I don't think I'd survive a 24-hour silent retreat.
No, it wouldn't be silent. It would be screaming and violent.
If one of my exes showed up, I'd be bye.
Mhm.
Also, one would have had to raise from the dead. However, I would run kicking and screaming out of there.
Someone would get arrested. Yeah.
Yeah, not me.
Um, okay.
I have two more.
Okay.
Okay. Would you rather have Lori's speed or Chelsea's keen astrology insights?
Astrology, because I am clueless with astrology and I try so hard to learn and I can't.
I loved every time she was like, "You're a Libra moon, like
Hmm.
you're a Libra
She's
rising,"
actually
or like,
obsessed in real life.
"I'm an Aries." I know, I love
Yeah.
it. I love it so much. Okay. And then totally random. What was the last song you listened to?
Oh, it was what is Kendrick's like group? Hold on. It was Constipation by Black Hippie.
Oh,
Yeah, his little group that broke up after a year. I was blasting it on the way back from walking the dogs.
nice.
I totally misinterpreted our quick shots.
Oh no.
So I thought we were doing friends, like us questions.
Yeah, and then you texted me earlier saying, what did you say? If I w Oh, got it. I understand now. I misinterpreted, not you.
So I'm gonna
I did.
try to
If you were arrested with no explanation, I would not assume you did it.
Thank you.
That's one of the questions she texted me earlier.
Yeah.
And it's because I think if you were going to do something, you would accidentally tell me
Oh
first.
yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Um, oh God, I'm trying to like manipulate.
I like these kinds of questions though.
Okay. What animal do you remind yourself of?
Remind
And
myself
what
of.
animal do I remind you of? And why? Both. Both.
You remind me of like a lion.
Why?
I don't know. I think it's like the hair and
Where?
but like but like but like a lioness because like you're stealthy
Mmm.
and you have these moments where I'm like my jaw hits the floor. Like purse it still gets me every time. And me,
I'm trying to think what
I guess my dog.
Bori?
Huh.
I think
If I had to think of myself as an animal, I don't know.
I'm trying to think what you something very confident,
Oh, thank you.
powerful,
I'm honored by
don't
these
take no
thoughts.
bullshit. I don't know what animal that would be.
I think that's a new version of me. I'll take it. Uh, I feel like I need a list of animals. I don't know
I don't know either.
what animals are.
Hmm.
Uh, 212 on the clock. Let's see. List of animals. Dude, I couldn't e like I don't think I'm one that hibernates.
Like a bear?
I said not.
Oh.
Like I wouldn't be a bear. Like I don't think of myself as a bear.
Um,
Like a feline. Like I don't think I'm really a
no, I don't
feline.
think you're a feline.
Like I don't think I'm a farm animal.
I feel like maybe a wolf.
Oh, maybe a fox because I had a run in
Fox.
the other
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
I had a run in with a fox the other night, guys. It was like
Which is
insane. We made eye contact for a while, then it went away, and then it came back, looked at me again, and
that's a
then left.
big deal.
And then I love how you sent me like a Native American thing about, or indigenous peoples thing about foxes
Like
and all the
trusting your
symbolism.
intuition or something.
Yeah, stuff about that. I like that. Okay, I'll take it.
If you were, these are so bad.
Oh
If you
God,
were
I'm
a
so
kitchen
excited.
utensil, what would you be?
A kitchen utensil. Um, like a salad fork.
Mm,
I think it's because I use the most. I don't really like
hmm.
big forks.
Same. That's apparently an ADHD thing.
Is it
Yeah,
really?
yeah. It really is. Like,
That makes me feel. I honestly, I always go for the salad forks. I hate using the big
I can't
ones.
use big spoons
Yeah.
or big forks.
Yeah. Like I'll use a big spoon to like stir,
Same.
but then I'll go and get a little spoon to eat it, which I guess is kind of a waste, but whatever. Just is what it is.
Um, what's more likely, you surviving a zombie apocalypse or becoming one of the zombies first?
Becoming a zombie. I can't run for shit.
You could fight them off.
With what? I got a yellow belt when I was 8.
Sick Bori on them. He'll kill them all
He won't bite anything. He does the same thing every time. He barks,
and
runs,
then
and then he
hides.
turns left. Also, my dog is like Zoolander, but opposite 'cause he can only turn left. Um, he like will run and then turn before he can like actually get close enough for something to happen. And then if something does happen, he does it's like,
Oh,
he's fine.
he's posturing only.
He's, like on top of 4 blankets right now. Like it, whatever. Anyway, continue.
Um,
He acts like you need to sponsor him from 10 cents a day. I was like, dude, you were almost a skewered appetizer in Korea and you're here now. Like, you're fine. Like, you're with a single mid-30s girl. You're absolutely fine.
he's
Like, you've
living the
kind of hit the
life.
jackpot in dog world.
Yeah, you really saved him, and he can chill.
Yeah, so
What is a moment we have shared that you think about more than I probably realize? I'm trying to reword these.
oh, I have a few. I don't know if we can put one in. I think, yeah, realizing like we could be friends on like not just a surface work
Yeah.
level because we both started complaining about the same person and like trying to suss it out
Yeah.
how we felt about this person.
How chill are you?
And yeah, pretty much. Well, because I came into the job having a friend already,
Hmm.
and then she went on maternity leave. And I kind of was like, oh no, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Like, 'cause she and I were the only two kind of like venting about this person. And by the way, I was only there for 3 weeks and we were already kind of like, ooh, this is not a good egg. And then you started, I started in May. You started in August?
Yeah. Or September. Yeah.
Something, yeah. So like I was already there for a few months and I remember you joined the team and I was kind of like, how long do I give to see what she thinks?
Yeah.
And then I don't think it took you long. And then,
Like,
oh my God, I remember we got paired on a project together
yes. Which we just finally
that
saw the rest of it.
we will not name, but it was a project. And I think you were leading it because you were like a higher title than me.
Nuh-uh. Was I?
Yes, you were. You were an advisor and I was a
Oh
coordinator.
yeah.
Anyway.
That was stupid.
But yeah, we realized that I think we were working on that project. We had a meeting
Hmm.
and we got off the meeting. And then I think we like slacked each other and we're like, do you have a minute? And then we realized we both had an issue with the same person.
Uh-huh.
And that's how we became friends.
That is.
Solid foundation.
Yeah.
I think about that all the time.
It is. Yeah, it was so long ago. It's crazy.
4 years ago. And then the other thing I think about all the time is when you and I realized like this would be a good idea.
Yeah.
And then actually I feel like someone said it to us. They was like, you guys just need to do it.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay,
I can't
yeah.
remember. Yeah, how did that?
I think it was Gianna.
Yeah, probably. We love you,
Yeah.
Gianna.
We love you, G.
Um, yes. Gosh, that seems like a lifetime ago. It's really weird.
It does. We're not the same
We are
people.
not.
Don't.
I love it.
So, yes, guys, as always, thanks for spiraling with us today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and, send this to someone who loves unhinged chaos as much as you do.
Yes.
And that's our show. We're Schmandy Schmill Schmackes. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay, we're done. Bye.
Bye.